Joining us now on the show, it is a pleasure to have him a part of the show tonight. He's the 10-time Knoxville Nationals winner. Donny Schatz joins us now. Donny, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Well, we're doing great, bud, and we wish we had a chance to talk to you after the Knoxville Nationals. Everybody pulling at you. We thought, well, let's just have him on this week. And have you come down? Have your feet come down and realize that you've double digit now with the Knoxville Nationals? That's got to feel. Does that mean anything? Double digits?
Absolutely. Anytime you go to Knoxville and it's Nationals time, and you go into the week and you put your best effort forward, you get yourself qualified in a good starting spot, and you can leave there with that big trophy. Yeah, it's a great sense of accomplishment. Be able to do it multiple times. The race team just been an incredible group of guys to be around, and man, it just keeps getting harder. You just got to keep doing more things and trying to stay on top of things, because a lot of great racers out there, a lot of good young guys that are getting things going on, and Kyle Larson's even incredible when he comes back and runs the car as few times as he does. So it gives us a lot of pride to be able to walk out of there champions.
Donny, do you ever think about, I want to surpass the King in his 12 wins there? I mean, do you not try to think about that, or can you not help from thinking about that?
No, it's not reality. It's
right.
you know, I'm pretty sure Steve will tell you that he didn't get to his point thinking about trying to just break records and do all these things. You think about racing every day as hard as you can and being competitive and trying to be on the best you can at your craft. And you know, we're in a good position to you know, hopefully be competitive when we roll in there next year. And if it ends up being in that position, great. But if not, you know, we're going to put our best foot forward like we have for the last 10 years, and we'll just see what happens.
Donny, congratulations on your victory. I want to ask you about the big competitor you had early in the race, David Gravel. You guys were really battling it out there early on. How strong a car did he have before he broke?
He had a really good car, but I think as we saw last year at the Nationals, what happens the first part of that race is kind of obsolete versus what's going to go on the second part of it. So, you know, Dave did a great job. It was fun to be able to get to him in traffic there and you know, mix it up with him a little bit. And every time we threw something at him, he was able to get back by. But obviously they had an issue, and that's something that does happen when you're pushing that hard. So, you know, it worked out for us. And obviously those guys are probably dejected as anybody would be. And that's only natural to have that feeling.
Donny, were you a little surprised that the track had those rough spots? I noticed that spot getting into one. If you were rimming it, if you didn't cheat it getting into one, right up there at the top there was a spot. Then obviously that big spot down there in the middle of 3 and 4 at the top. Were you a little surprised that he was cowboy up through those holes like he was earlier in that race?
Well, it got him. It worked for him on prelim night, but the racetrack was obviously different on Saturday night. You know, they reworked it with the tiller right before the A main, and I wasn't sure what the goal was, whether it was trying to keep the cushion there or to let the cushion move. But man, did it let it move up, and it got up further around than it had all week, and it had a few rough spots. And I don't think we're made from the tiller. I think it was just they were there. We just hadn't been able to get up that far on the racetrack all week long. So it's just the way it works. You know, you think you got dirt figured out. You think you know what's going to happen with the racetrack, and then it throws a curveball at you. And that's what makes this game so much fun and so unique.
We're visiting with 10-time Knoxville Nationals winner Donny Schatz here on Prime Time, brought to you by McCarthy Auto Group. How about Madsen on that one restart, man? He gave it all he could there. That was his only chance. He felt like he had a fast enough car, and he was hoping he was good. Yeah, but when he did that restart on that, he tried to pull a slider on you. Boy, it got narrow right there, didn't it?
Well, we both had plenty of room, but yeah, it was a little bit odd for a second there. You know, I seen him come across there, and I was like, oh boy, don't make a mistake. You know, I needed all the speed I could, and got to him. It was time to decide, and I was going for it. I mean, it was Nationals time, and you know, you don't want to let them things happen. I could see the race slipping away like it did last year. So, you know, you got to go for it. We didn't touch. Was able to get back by, and he said he lost the spot doing that, but that's how the racing was. You know, that's the way the track ended up being Saturday night. So you had to be put yourself in a position where you know, it was like playing chess. You had to make the right move at the right time, and he tried it. And if he'd have been able to get by me, you never know, the race might have been his to win. So I guess we'll have to, it worked out good for me, and we'll have to wait and see what happens next year.
Right.
They call it the month of money. You won the Kings Royal, then you went ahead and won the Don Martin Memorial Cup for the 6th time, and now the Knoxville Nationals. Is this the best month of money you've ever had, because you won all of those races?
Well, we've won those races before. It would have been really nice to win the Summer Nationals at Waynes Grove, but that got rained out. The Ironman got rained out, so we still get an opportunity to race those races. But yeah, it was a great month of money. That's really the race team. That's what these guys do. They never give up. They always dig to keep working, and just because they win races doesn't make them settle for anything. They just keep digging and plugging away, and it's an honor to race with those guys, Tony Stewart Racing.
How about that relationship you got with Ricky Warner? You guys been together for quite a while now. Talk about that relationship.
I loved your comments about that love-hate relationship that you guys have.
Well, that's a crew chief driver thing.
Right.
He doesn't always agree with what I say, and I don't always agree with what he says, but that's what it is. We love to hate each other, and we hate to love each other. So it's, we work well together, and Rick knows what I'm looking for, and I know what he's looking for, and at the end of the day, we're there to win races, and we seem to do that on a regular basis. So every once in a while, we both have to hit the reset button and go back to square one. And it's a great relationship, and hopefully we can be in a position where we stay competitive with each other for a long time.
Kind of like me and you, Kirk, a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to ask you quickly. I've got a couple minutes left here, but what do you think Kyle Larson means to the sport of sprint car racing? We see racing, dirt track racing, modified, late models, weekly racing, kind of slipping a little bit, but it seems like sprint car racing is holding steady. In fact, with me, I travel with the ASCS National Tour during their broadcast. I see growth, and I see it in all forms of sprint car racing. Your thoughts on what Kyle Larson means to sprint car racing, dirt track racing, and just our industry in a whole?
Kyle he's incredible for our sport. I mean, obviously he's one of the top tier NASCAR drivers now, and he hasn't forgotten where he comes from and still enjoys running the sprint cars, and he's damn good at it. So, it's a win-win for everyone. And, the growth that you're seeing in the sport is it's for a lot of reasons. Things are very competitive right now in 410 sprint car racing, and Kyle's a part of that. The young guys that are coming up are a part of that. It's just a great time to be around it at the moment, and it's hard to attribute it to just one thing. I think everybody's doing their part to put on great shows and put the sport in a good spot. So I'm glad to be a part of it myself. So I'm going to enjoy it while I can. Finally,
I want to ask you, I was watching the interview in Victory Lane with Kyle Larson as you and Tony kind of embraced each other. I don't know if anybody's mentioned this or not, but you guys had a long hug, and obviously Tony was saying something in your ear. And then you guys pulled apart, and you had a little conversation there. Can you share any of that conversation with Tony in Victory Lane at that moment?
Well, Tony was letting me know some of the things that I didn't do right, and he was telling me some of the things that he felt like was wrong with the race car. And that's why Tony Stewart is what he is. That's why he's the champion that he is, the car owner he is, the friend that he is. That's the time when you do. The only time it's fresh in your mind of what you need to do to be better next time. And it just shows his passion for the sport and the things that he does for us and what he wants to be himself as a wing sprint car driver. So he pays close attention, and, it was very good words of encouragement and also words of criticism. And that's what I love about the guy. I want to hear it all. I don't want to hear just the good. You got to take the bad with the good. So that's what our conversation was like.
And quickly, we do the Chili Bowl broadcast. You going to run the Chili Bowl ever again?
I will be at the Chili Bowl. It's my plan. I'll be
awesome.
Hopefully driving a Clausen Marshall Midget just like I was last year.
Awesome, man. All right, Donnie, thanks so much for taking the time. We appreciate it. And good luck on your trying to pick up number 11 next year at Knoxville.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thank you. And he gets to race around home this weekend. How about that?
That's good stuff.
Donny Schatz.
There you have Donny Schatz, 10-time Knoxville National winner. We want to thank him for taking the time to be on the show with us today.